105. Temperature at game time is up to 119 on the playing field. Good afternoon, everyone. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy on opening day 1985. The Seahawks come in as an established NFL power, rated by many as the club from the AFC that'll go to the Super Bowl in January. Trump, they have the whole package: offense, defense, special teams. It's that D that really keys the success, though.
Don, the defense makes the headlines. We feature three key performers. Ken Easley, the most valuable player of the Seattle Seahawks, NFL's Defensive Player of the Year. He had 10 interceptions last year. And the two defensive ends, Jeff Bryant, Jacob Green, they led the team in sacks together, and Joe Nash, the nose tackle, makes the Pro Bowl.
The Cincinnati Bengals are a rising power. They closed with 7 wins in their last 9 games this season to go on and pick it up again right there. They have a lot of offense, one of the better offenses in the conference, keyed by a veteran quarterback and a great new receiver.
Ken Anderson in his 15th season. Eddie Brown is that new receiver. Add to that Chris Collinsworth and the late addition of Dan Ross. This is a team with great offensive potential.
We're ready to go, and it's hot in Cincinnati. Two teams keyed and ready to tee it up. And a very positive development for the Seahawks is the return to good form of Kurt Warner, who had that spectacular rookie season, went down with a knee injury in the opening game a year ago, missed the entire season. Now he's back, and in the last 2 preseason games, Kurt Warner's looked like the Warner of old. He's looked terrific.
Don, I love Chuck Knox's comment. He said, for Kurt Warner's sake, I hope he's all right. He wants to see this kid have a long and illustrious NFL career.
Well, Knox says he's a total team guy, wants more than anything else to win. The counterpart of Chuck Knox is Sam White, the youngest head coach in the NFL, 40 years of age. His team started out losing its first 5 games last year. They came out like a freight train at the end.
Most of the players admit that Sam treated them like men, and it took him a while to adjust to that. And, of course, he has an offense that requires a great deal of thought. And over the last 11 games, they were 8-3, as you said, Don, and they were outstanding offensively.
The Bengals are ready to receive. Standing back as Norm Johnson has the ball teed up. Number 9 for the Seahawks, Stanford Jennings and Mike Martin. And here is Norm Johnson from UCLA into the ball. Strong. Drives it right out of the end zone. And so on an opening touchback, the ball comes out to the 20. And guys are throwing forearms hard as they come down in that first confrontation of their special teams. Anderson at quarterback. The rookie, number 81, Eddie Brown, bears watching. A great preseason, averaged over 22 yards on 12 catches, scored 3 touchdowns. The offensive line, Munoz, the left tackle, is one of the great players in professional football. A huge offensive line to protect Ken Anderson. As now Cincinnati comes out of the huddle, first down and 10. Bengals go quickly to the run, and James Brooks, the former San Diego Charger, takes the ball straight ahead out to the 25-yard line. He got 5. Defensively, the Seahawks are keyed by 2 great pass rushers in Jacob Green and Jeff Bryant. As Bob Trumpy pointed out, Joe Nash, free agent, was a Pro Bowler at nose tackle. The linebackers are big and very mobile, make a lot of tackles. They can run, although they're out of the game much of the time. They go with so many DBs. Defensive secondary has a player in Ken Easley, many say is the best player in the NFL. He gets that kind of support. Now on second down, Kinnebrew runs the ball for Cincinnati. On a 2nd and 5, he got ahead for about 3 yards. It'll be 3rd and short. Michael Jackson made the knockdown for the Seahawks.
Don, you mentioned, rightly so, about the linebackers being out of the ballgame. This Seattle defense just lives and dies with that 2nd and long situation, so they can bring in 7 and 8 defensive backs. And they have absolutely terrorized the NFL over the last 2 years with turnovers.
Seahawks were really some with those turnovers a year ago for 63. Seattle beat Cincinnati here in Ohio last November, you may remember. Here is Kinnebrew running for a first down and more as the big back blasts ahead. 255 pounds, and he's one of the fastest people out there. He's run a high school 900-yard dash.
When this season began up in Wilmington College training camp, Larry Kinnebrew weighed about 275 pounds, certainly caught the ire of Sam White. Sam finally said, I don't care how much you weigh. You're going to carry the ball a lot. We're going to get you in shape. Last year against the Seattle Seahawks, he went over 100 yards rushing.
And it's 1st and 10 now for Cincinnati as Anderson looks to put it up. Eddie Brown running deep. Here's a fire over the middle. Almost completed. Looked like Anderson, Trump, was on target, but Keith Butler might have shielded the receiver, Chris Collinsworth, from the ball.
One of the things the Cincinnati Bengals will attempt to do is to keep Seattle out of that 6 and 7 defensive back set. They did in this particular instance as they go right back to the line of scrimmage for the next play to keep Seattle from getting those 6 and 7 defensive backs in. He should have caught that pass.
Interesting turn of events now, as you point out. The Bengals going right into alignment without a huddle. They did this twice in 2 series against the Colts last week in the final preseason game and scored on both drives. Anderson on 2nd and 10. Fires. He's got a man wide open. His tight end, Rodney Holman, comes down with the ball. And now it's a free football, and the Seahawks have it. Sheldon Robinson came up with the ball. And the Hawks pick up right where they left off. We'll see if the official ruled him down.
The official said absolutely nothing. There has been no indication from the official that he was down. No one has marked where the pass completion was made. We'll watch again. Holman on the catch. He's on the ground. Should be Cincinnati Bengals ball. We'll see what the officials finally decide.
No question he was down when the ball came up.
To remind everyone out there to emphasize this, and we can't emphasize it enough, the turf cannot cause a fumble. Oh, now they're saying Seattle ball.
Tough call. In way of explanation of that, Trump, the turf cannot cause a fumble if a player is down and the ball pops out then after he's down. It is ruled the player is down, or that's the way it reads.
So the Cincinnati Bengals start out exactly what they didn't want to do. Seattle last year was 63 turnovers. This is very questionable.
What a stick by Terry Taylor, the young cornerback who's coming on so strong, and now the Seahawks go on offense for the first time. No score first quarter. Kurt Warner dancing up the middle, and he's across the 40, but a marker's down. Ron Simpkins made the tackle. Warner showing that elusiveness.
Number 59, holding.
Blair Bush, a former Bengal, was called for the penalty. Yep. He's playing across from a very tough nose tackle is Blair Bush. Tim Crumry. Dave Krieg, a Pro Bowler at quarterback. Largent and Deep Heat Darrell Turner, a touchdown threat, are the wide receivers. Warner and Hughes in the backfield, and if Kurt Warner comes back all the way, the Seahawks could be awesome. There's a mismatch on the right side. Brian Millard to tackle for injured Bob Kreider. He has to take on Eddie Edwards. First down and 20 now as the Seahawks are set back on the penalty. Kurt Warner turns upfield, and the Bengals bring him out and knock him down. Nothing there. Leading the way was number 59, the outside tackler Jeff Shue. Eddie Edwards, Tim Crumry, and Ross Browner. 3 very good ones across the defensive front. Linebackers maybe a little shaky, not the strongest in the league at that 4-man alignment, although there's some talent on the right side in Williams. Horton could be tested. Bobby Kemp is one of the best safeties in the game. Second down and 18, Seattle. No score first quarter. Krieg is open, hits David Hughes. He's got open field. He's inside the 30. He has a Seahawk first down to the 29-yard line.
No flags. Excellent job by Seattle. 23 yards on the catch. Linebacker coverage. 23 yards on the catch. Linebacker coverage on a running back out of the backfield. And that's one of the things that's characteristic of a Chuck Knox offense. Great patience. You see the twist up front. Eddie Edwards with pressure. But here's the mismatch. A running back on a linebacker. The Seahawks should win that matchup every time.
Executed play, though, that time trumped by the Seahawks as they get the big yardage, and now they have it down inside the 30-yard line of Cincinnati. First and 10. First quarter, no score. Kurt Warner again tries to dip outside, and again, the pursuit of the Cincinnati linebackers is strong indeed. Jeff Shue got him.
Don, last night, in speaking with Chuck Knox as we did, the first play of training camp and mini camp, when Kurt Warner came back and was healthy, was the sweep that he was hurt on in Seattle last year. Mike McCormick, the general manager, Chuck Knox, the head coach, all feel Kurt Warner is 100% physically recovered. It's just a matter of mentally, is he recovered from the injury?
Well, they said his rehab program was inspiring for the whole team, the way he worked to come back. And now, on second down and 9, Warner goes in motion. Going to the end zone, and it's a touchdown for Seattle.
Easy.
29-yard touchdown throw as the ball is fired into the end zone, complete. Byron Walker's the man.
Very simple pattern run by Seattle. Good pass protection by the offensive line. And Krieg, who is 22-10 as a starter, who last year threw 32 touchdown passes, every touchdown pass that Seattle Seahawks had, gets it to Turner. That was very easy, Don.
It really was a very effective offense by the Seahawks, capitalizing again on a turnover for the first points of the season. Norm Johnson hits the extra point up and good. And with 10-12 to play in the first quarter, the Seahawks strike first. Byron Walker was in the end zone with a touchdown throw. 7-0. Criqui back in very hot Cincinnati, Ohio. Temperature on the field is over 100 degrees, way over it, and the Seahawks came out the first possession and took it right into the end zone after capitalizing on a fumble recovery. David Krieg fired 29 yards to Byron Walker in the end zone, and it's 7-0 Seattle. Now Norm Johnson, who opened the game with a kickoff, ready to boot it again. We cannot overemphasize the heat and the humidity and the toll it's going to take as this game wears on. There's going to be more turnovers. Coming upfield is Mike Martin with the ball, breaks into open field, and the Seahawks, who for the last 4 years have been one of the preeminent teams in the NFL in kick coverage, allow a 22-yard return, and Cincinnati gets the ball 1st and 10.
Don, here's the touchdown. Good protection, man-to-man coverage. Louis Breeden on the outside, Walker on the inside. That is on the money. An absolute strike by Krieg.
That's the 19th straight game, Trump, that he's thrown a touchdown pass. Through 32 last year. His great performance overshadowed by the spectacular year of Dan Marino, but Krieg with 32 had one of the great seasons. Here is a near interception. Man, John Harris saw the ball, and he saw an open track to the end zone. Couldn't hold on. Hit him in a bad place.
Good pressure up front by the Seattle front four. Three, you can see him. It's Jeff Bryant right in the face. Ken Anderson, and that ball is, that's a strike too to the guys in the other shirts, though.
Bad place right in the hands. Chuck Knox was telling us yesterday that plays like that, when the ball comes to you, you cannot afford to miss. 5 times a game it's going to happen, he says, on either fumbles that are free or interceptions you should have. You have to capitalize on 4. Kinnebrew on 2nd down. He's a truck. Comes across the 30, and he's out to the 32-yard line, where the big league hitter Kenny Easley got knocked him down. Phil Simms has thrown for the Giants touchdown. Lionel Manuel, Giants up on the Eagles 7-0 first quarter. The world champion 49ers have gone in front of the Vikings 7-0 at Minneapolis. Roger Krieg ran 10 yards for that touchdown for the Niners. 3 wide receivers in the game now for Cincinnati. 3rd down and a long 2. Anderson gets some time. He's running out of it, and Kenny Anderson is sacked back at the 23-yard line. Joe Nash, the Pro Bowl middle guard, was there, and so was 77 Jeff Bryant.
That's the defense that the Seattle Seahawks live with. They had 4-man rush, 1 linebacker, and 6 defensive backs. We'll look at Joe Nash out of Boston College. Good pressure up front. You see him coming from just about everywhere. Lato's tackles one of the defensive linemen, and the pressure eventually gets to Ken Anderson, and they got a punt.
Pat McInally, one of the NFL's finest punters, is standing back at his 10-yard line. Hits the ball downfield, a long spiral that takes Danny Green, a rookie, back to his 23-yard line. Turning wide, the special team coverage is good for the Bengals. A 53-yard punt. And the Bengals are there to cover it, so Cincinnati comes up with a big play, but Seattle has the ball on a 7-0 lead when we come back. There's Steve Largent, one of the game's great players at wide receiver. There was a penalty after the kick coverage. A blow to the head delivered by a rookie, Carl Zander. The Bengals resulted in a 15-yard personal foul assessment against Cincinnati. So now the Seahawks will have it at their 42. Trump?
Don, we were informed about 10 minutes ago that Steve Largent had a slightly pulled hamstring, which is an injury he suffered throughout his career, hamstring problems. Comes back in the ball game. I'm wondering if they'll try to get him a quick reception to keep that consecutive game streak alive.
First and 10, the Seattle Seahawks go to the run as Kurt Warner running a slant play. Fighting hard. A penalty marker is down, though. And now while we have a moment, let's go to Bob Costas at NFL 85.
Don, here's the first score of the 1985 season. Bill Kenny connects with Walt Arnold for a touchdown covering 31 yards. Chiefs with the early lead at New Orleans. Meanwhile, at Houston, Dan Marino has apparently injured his left wrist. He's left and Don Strock has come in.
Wow, that's some development. Marino going out early in the game. We'll be checking on that to see the severity of the injury to Dan Marino's left wrist as he leaves the game against the Houston Oilers at the Astrodome.
Now, when you come in late, miss training camp, you miss that contact that you need to get used to for the NFL, and injuries result.
It sure resulted for Dan Marino. Tampa Bay up on Chicago 7-0. That is Soldier Field. And now first down and 20 coming up after a foul call against the Seattle Seahawks. Warner hemmed in. Bengal defense looking for number 28. They've shut him down for the most part other than that one 9-yard run. Browner was on the tackle along with Glenn Cameron, an inside linebacker. Ross Browner, number 79. Now here's good news, Trump. We just got word that Dan Marino's back in the game.
Back in the game.
Wasn't his right hand. Seattle leads this game 7-0. We have 7 minutes and 52 seconds to play in the first quarter on a sweltering day in Cincinnati. Dave Krieg letting it go long. The Seahawks with blazing speed on the flex, and again he was going to Byron Walker, the rangy wide receiver from the Citadel, who caught the first pass of the game from Krieg for a 29-yard touchdown.
Full protection by the Seattle Seahawks. Man-to-man coverage by the Cincinnati Bengals. And Krieg overthrows him just a little bit, but that was excellent coverage by Ray Horton, Don.
Right with him, stride for stride was Horton. They're going to be tested, though, those cornerbacks. Krieg throwing very effectively, hit Hughes over the middle on a big third down play, and right after that, bombs away and touchdown Seattle.
Bengals now with 6 defensive backs, 4 defensive linemen, and a linebacker.
3rd and 22. Home run, Darrell V.P. Turner going for the ball, and he can't get to it. Nice coverage by the Bengals. Running stride for stride. With the fastest man, perhaps, on the Seattle team was Jim Griffin of Cincinnati.
One of the things that Darrell Turner must develop is some good underneath patterns. It'll make him as a wide receiver and a deep threat 10 times better. Most of what Darrell Turner does is straight up the field. If he can just shorten his stride a little bit, a little trickier in those short patterns, boy. 35 catches last year, 10 touchdowns.
Times he was in the end zone. 35 receptions and 10 TDs, as you point out. Here's a punt not very long by Jeff West. It is taken. It'll be returned. Mike Martin coming back with the ball, and he is out across the 40-yard line. 38-yard punt. Return of about 9 yards, and so Cincinnati gets the ball, trailing 7-0. The Bengals with good field position when we come back to Cincinnati. Back at Cincinnati, Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. Opening day 1985. Temperature on the field at kickoff time was 119 degrees. The Bengals with the ball. First and 10. Seattle leads the game 7-0. Handoff. James Brooks breaks into open field. Ankle high tackle by Michael Jackson. They stop what would have been a 50-yard gain.
One surprising thing about this Cincinnati Bengal offensive line, which is absolutely huge, is they can pull. They go right back to the line of scrimmage now, once again, trying to keep Seattle out of that 7 defensive back set.
Gain of over 5 on that carry. It'll be second and a long 4. Anderson taking a look. Fires towards Eddie Brown, who has the ball, and he's down to the 41-yard line of Seattle. Bruce Schultz made the knockdown.
Don Turnabout, fair play. Seattle got a great reception out of Hughes with linebacker coverage. Here's Schonert trying to keep up with Eddie Brown. 14 yards on the catch, his first official catch in the NFL.
Talking to Chris Collinsworth yesterday, watching some game films with him at the Cincinnati training site. He says Brown is too quick to be jammed at the line, too fast to be covered deep, and his strongest suit, he'll catch it over the middle. Max Montoya, strongest suit was not the snap count.
Yeah, he was way offside there.
Offense. Ball start. Number 65.
You're going to have those problems when you go to the line of scrimmage and try to call the offense. You got to suffer with those, and in this heat, tendency is that you kind of lose concentration a little bit.
Well, as you know, Bob, a lot of teams have been talking about going into alignment without huddles in order to keep the changing defenses off the field. We heard that conversation a lot last year. This is the first time we've seen a team do it.
Yeah.
Bengals trying to keep all those defensive backs from shifting into the game on longer yardage plays. Seattle will play as many as 8 DBs, depending on down and yardage.
They got 6 in there now, Don.
Right now, it's 1st and 15 for Cincinnati. Another marker goes down as we're misfiring early in the game with 5:41 to play in the first quarter. And Seattle in the lead on a 29-yard touchdown pass from David Krieg to Byron Walker. It's 7-0 Seahawks.
Offense. Number 77. Ball start.
Well, so far, the Cincinnati Bengals are tricking themselves. Mike Wilson.
Trump, you played a lot of games over 10 years for the Bengals, wearing that Cincinnati black and orange. Black jerseys have to be tough when it's over 100.
It does have an effect on you, but it is so hot, I don't think it's going to be an advantage to either team or a disadvantage to either team. You can't get used to playing in heat like this no matter what color you're wearing or where you practice.
1st and 20 now. Seattle showing blitz. Now they pull off as Anderson takes a look, fires quickly, and he again has his man Eddie Brown. He's down to the 44-yard line. Not Eddie Brown, that was Mike Martin who came up with the ball. Kenny Easley was there to hit him very quickly.
Watch up front, Dave Remington, the center. From the shotgun, you see pressure all over the place by the Seattle Seahawks. And they like to run games up front. Those front 4 will be all over the place. Good catch by Mike Martin. Kenny Easley right on the ball, but a good reception.
Nicely done. Now this time Eddie Brown comes wide to the right. Collinsworth at the top of your screen. 2nd down and 12. Handoff goes to the fullback, and Kinnebrew running hard. Again meets up with number 45 Easley of the Seahawks. Ball is down to the 42-yard line now, Seattle.
That's the amazing thing about Kenny Easley. He's back 10 yards deep to make a tackle on Mike Martin on a pass reception, and then stops Larry Kinnebrew for no gain behind the line of scrimmage. Great athlete.
He really is that. Big league hitter, and he's got the speed to cover anybody out there coming at him. Now, 3rd down and long, 3rd and just over 10 for Ken Anderson and the Bengals. Here comes the blitz. Bengals pick it up. Long ball going for it as Mike Martin overthrown. Left one-on-one to cover was Terry Jackson, and he was right with Martin stride for stride. So the Bengal drive comes up short, and they'll have to punt the ball.
That's one of the things about this Seattle defense. You see 8 guys up at the line of scrimmage. Now 3 guys in single coverage. Jackson draws Martin on the inside. A little juke outside. Jackson didn't buy it. And basically what they're betting is that the pass rush gets to Anderson before he can find a receiver open. It worked.
Right now, Danny Green drops back deep as Pat McInally is ready to punt the ball again for Cincinnati. 3:57 to play in the first quarter. Seahawks in white lead the game 7-0. Line drive kick. Danny Green's going to let it hop on into the end zone for a touchback. And the Hawks will go 1st and 10 from their 20 on a 42-yard punt into the end zone. Take off 20 on the touchback yardage. So Krieg and the offense is back out for the Hawks. When the Seahawks came here, there was a snowstorm. Today it's 100 degrees hotter as the Seahawks go right to the run on 1st down and get the ball out across the 25-yard line and out to spot it pretty close to the 27. Kurt Warner running wide. Bengals are really keying on Warner, though, Trump. They're looking for him from the get-go.
Look at that thermometer down there on the field. Unfortunately, this stadium is never in the shade. This early in the fall, it's going to be an intense heat and lots of humidity for the entire day.
Second down and 3. David Krieg hands off Warner. Working hard. He certainly doesn't appear to have lost any confidence the way he's running into that line.
And Don, they're going to use him too. You know, 2 years ago, Chuck Knox had Brown Chuck. And as long as Curt Warner says I'm all right, they're going to keep giving him the football. Throw it to him, run some swing passes to him, try to get him back up to speed.
Miami has jumped out in front of the Houston Oilers now at the Astrodome by a 10-0 count in the first quarter. As the Seahawks, leading this game 7-0 on a stifling day, go from their 30, 1st and 10. First quarter of play. Blitz is picked up. Now they get David Krieg way back inside the 20. The first blitzer was knocked down by Seattle blocking, but then a couple of more poured through. Jeff Shue, a linebacker, and right with him was defensive end Eddie Edwards. So a big loss on the play, and Seattle set way back.
Don, this was a late developing play. This was a delay to Steve Largent. And you see Edwards inside on Millard, young man who was making his first start in the NFL, replacing Bob Kreider at right tackle. And that'll make any bit of coverage look pretty good.
That was the matchup the Seahawks were concerned about. Eddie Edwards against the untried young offensive tackle Brian Millard on the right side, who's in for the injured Bob Kreider. Second down and 20 now for Krieg and the Seahawks. Kurt Warner dipping up the middle, and there's not much there as Ross Browner, former Outland and Lombardi Award winner at Notre Dame, knocked him down.
We got a flag on the field too.
We do indeed, right down at the where the tackle was made.
Glenn Cameron says number 50. He says it's holding against the Seahawks. This is a game where when you watch the films, you see dumb little things done by players because it's so hot. You get very, very tired out there. So to try to save a step, you may reach around and grab somebody, and it's just the fatigue of the heat.
Offense, number 59. Holding. Second down.
Sam White's maintaining his cool on the sideline.
Second holding penalty on Blair Bush for the Seattle Seahawks.
The ex-Bengal, and now Chuck Knox, is obviously quite exercised over this whole thing. Chuck's going to lose a little weight. He's saying somebody's holding on the other way.
He'll lose a little weight today.
Second down and 30 now as Krieg works from the shotgun.
Draw.
Tell you, the way this drive is going, it'll be a moral victory for the Hawks to get off a punt. They do lead the game, though.
We set this game up as the defense of the Cincinnati Bengals somewhat suspect. Eddie Edwards once again inside. Reggie Williams 57 on the blitz. Blitz handled very well by Edwin Bailey, but the other side of the line, Emmanuel King, Tim Crumrod, right there to shut him down.
So Eddie Edwards having a big game, at least so far. We'll see how many can keep up that all-out effort like on the pass rush.
This is a play that you certainly want the coach to call. Third and a week.
Out of the end zone, Krieg throws the ball, and it skips off the hands of his receiver, Danny Green, incomplete. And the Seahawks will have to punt the football from their end zone. Stadium is packed, and they're up and saluting the Cincinnati defense. Last November, Seattle came in here on that blizzardy day, forced 5 Cincinnati turnovers, held the Bengals without a touchdown, and won the game 26-6. And Cincinnati went on to win its last 4 games in a row. West hits the ball poorly again. Martin coming up out of it, takes a hawk roll, though, and goes out to the 46-yard line.
For the Cincinnati Bengals, so far their offense has generated very little. 39 yards on the punt by Jeff West. You were talking earlier about Chuck Knox and the opportunities that a team has. They must take advantage of them. This is an opportunity now for the Cincinnati Bengals offense. They can't miss this opportunity. A great job by their defense. The defense has got to now be given a rest, and the Bengals got to drive the ball.
Penalty markers go down as the Bengals go to the run on first down. Kinnebrew tries it off the left side and doesn't get much, but a whole load of Jacob Green with just 12 seconds to play in the first quarter.
Jacob Green was offsides, too.
We'll remind you this telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Bengals.
Offside. 5 yards.
The National Football League is prohibited. Seahawks offside, a 5-yard assessment against them, and so the Bengals field position improves with 12 seconds to go in the quarter, and Seattle in the lead 7-0.
1st and 5, an excellent play for any offense, Don. You're going to throw it deep, you throw it now. Let's see how Seattle reacts. They got 1, 2, 3. Now they're going to play pretty honest.
So the first quarter comes to an end, and Anderson comes over for counsel. The only cool breeze in the Midwest behind the two benches as big fans are blowing air over ice on the players. I don't know how much good that does, Trump, but it makes them feel better for a moment.
No, I don't think it does any good whatsoever. Those wet ice towels help a little bit. There's no way to get away from this heat.
Towels they have around their head have all been soaked in vats of ice water. Here's a handoff. Kinnebrew trying it up the middle, and he's inside the 35. They're not booing him, they're brewing him. Brew comes the call as Bryant makes the knockdown for Seattle. 1st and 5 play, and it's going to be very close, and it is good enough for a first down. So the Bengals start the challenge, trailing in the second quarter 7-0.
Historically, Seattle Seahawks at this point come up with that big turnover. 63 of them last year. This is the most prolific scoring defense in the NFL in the last 2 years.
And the offense complements the defensive turnover because, again, the Seattle team took it right in for a touchdown. Now Anderson fires, and he's got a man. Collinsworth coming off the left flank, turns in at the 23-yard line. He's very close to yet another first down for the Bengals. Let's see if he got it. Measure the ball. Looks like he's got it.
Pretty even. Time of possession pretty even. Now those minus yards rushing all happened on the last drive by the Seattle Seahawks. The 1 turnover by Seattle turned into 7 points. That's the way they play the game.
Bengals with an interesting formation now. Eddie Brown, the rookie, and Chris Collinsworth, the veteran, at the top, so they can't be double teamed. They go right back to the run now. Behind the blocking of Big Dave Remington from Nebraska, 300-pound Brian Blados, and Max Montoya. The Cincinnati offense here, Trump, is winning the line of scrimmage.
Well, that offensive line of the Cincinnati Bengals, even though it's known for pass protection, as the Giants once again score against the Philadelphia Eagles. Frisco still over Minnesota 7-0. That offensive line is a good power blocking offensive line.
St. Louis 7 up on the Cleveland Browns. We just got word that Joe Montana, the 49ers, went out of the game with a leg injury. James Brooks turns the corner. He's heading for the end zone, and he's in. Touchdown Bengals. 15 yards.
Last year, this young man was acquired from San Diego for Pete Johnson. Was never really a part of the offense. This touchdown is all James Brooks, with a big assist for the last 5 yards to Eddie Brown. He makes a crucial block right at the goal line, and JB goes in.
Jim Breach, who hit all 37 of his points after last season, can tie the game if he makes it now, and he gets it up and right through, and it's a tie ball game. 13-11 to play in the first half, and the Bengals have tied the game 7-all.
Here's the touchdown. The play designed to run right at Jacob Green. You see Larry Kinnebrew, 28, the lead blocker. Brooks sucks the defense in by going up the line of scrimmage. Watch at the top of your screen. Harris in pursuit, but a big block by Eddie Brown on Dave Brown. Brooks into the end zone.
15 yards and a TD, the extra point good, and we're locked up 7-all with 13 minutes and 11 seconds to play in the first half. Krieg hits a high spinner. It'll come back. Danny Green from Washington takes the ball to the 10. 20. Not done yet. Across the 30, and Danny Green is all the way out to the 38-yard line. So Krieg and the Seahawks, after a 33-yard kickoff return, in good position. Pitch back goes to Curt Warner. And the Seahawks get some running room as Warner follows his blockers nicely and is knocked out of bounds at about the 44 or 45-yard line. Robert Jackson, the free safety for the Bengals, 37, who was a doubtful starter with a back problem, was across to make the tackle. Boys, Trump huddling at their leisure. Nobody's running back to that huddle.
Well, with the league rules this year, they're allowed less time back to the huddle. By the fourth quarter, there's going to be some guys gasping for air here.
Second down and 7. Hughes is the up back in the I set. He's the blocker. Gets the ball on this play, does David Hughes, and fights his way out across the 45. It'll be third and about 3.
And the most critical thing today for both teams is proper balance, offense and defense. You don't want your defense out there fighting against a 7-minute, 80-yard drive, because I've always been of the opinion that it takes more energy out of a defense than it does an offense on a long drive. Defense is reaction. Offense is action. And the defensive players get a lot more tired.
And today they're all going to wear down. Held into butter by the fourth quarter. 3.5 yards to go on third down. Red takes a look. Throws it. He's got a man, a hard stick, but it's a first down for the Seahawks as Reggie Williams came up. They make a driving tackle on Byron Franklin. Caught 69 passes for the Buffalo Bills a season ago. Acquired in a trade during the summer.
Really spread the Bengal defense out. Plenty of room for Franklin to roam. Excellent pass protection.
The battle isn't against the opposing teams just today. It is also against Mother Nature, with temperature and humidities making the playing conditions absolutely abominable. Right on they will as David Krieg takes a look and throws to an open receiver down to the 25-yard line and down to the 24. Largent is ahead for a 21-yard gain.
That's now 108 straight games as Steve Largent has caught a pass. One of the most patient receivers, disciplined receivers you can find in the game today. And obviously, Krieg has a great deal of confidence in Largent. Once a simple square in, good for a first down.
He averaged over 60 yards, 60 receptions this season during his first 9 years at Seattle. Pitch back now goes to Curt Warner into open field. Warner breaks a tackle, eludes another tackler. Curt Warner takes it all the way down inside the 15-yard line to the 11.
Oh, he's getting fired up. 13 yards on the carry. The best thing about this is once he gets outside, close to the sideline, his injured knee is the knee towards the defense. Watch the hit he takes by Robert Jackson right there. Bends his knee a little bit. He's fine. There's his foot out of bounds. Every time Curt Warner gets a hit like that, runs back to the huddle, the fans in Seattle are saying, yeah.
Right now he's looking for a breath of air, Trump, as Curt Warner goes out. Randall Morris comes in. Had he not stepped out here, he would have taken it in.
You're right. Still got that great speed.
Now it is first and 10 Seattle. Seahawks challenging in a tie game, 7-7 second quarter. Krieg swings it up the middle. Hughes has the ball and fights down close to the 7-yard line. Seahawks can conceivably get a first down if they get it down to the 1-yard line of Cincinnati. Joe Montana, we're happy to report, like Dan Marino, who went out with an injury also and came back in, so has Montana at Minnesota. Guys are quick healers, these all-pros.
This is a great drive for the Seattle Seahawks because it just throws it right back in the face of the Cincinnati Bengals. They score, Seahawks come right back with a great drive.
Big down now, second down and 4 for a first down, 5 for a touchdown for Seattle. Krieg timing pattern into the end zone. Touchdown. No, yes, he did get a touchdown. Hands went up. First he started to wave it off, but it's good for a 6-yard touchdown throw to Darrell Turner, the second-year wideout from Michigan State. And so the Seahawks strike on 2. Krieg touchdown throws and again take the lead 13-7.
Ray Horton on the coverage here. Turner does a great job of not looking back until late. Look at the separation. And he does get both feet in. Great throw, great catch.
Official started to wave it off, and then up went the hands as he looked closer.
Don, there's no way to defense that play. Simply no way to defense that play.
Seahawks in their 2 touchdown drives have really moved the ball rather effortlessly. They were stymieing other 10 possessions against Cincinnati. Norm Johnson gets the point after, up and through. 10 minutes and 4 seconds to go in the first half, and the Seahawks have a 14-7 lead. The rarest commodity in town today in Cincinnati, Yacho. That's ice with a fan blowing on it. Improvised air conditioning. More psychological advantage than anything. Both teams have it, but it can do little to cool off this very, very hot field. And now the high spinning kickoff by Norm Johnson is going to be fielded by Mike Martin at the 11. He busts up the middle and takes it out to the 28-yard line. So Cincinnati trailing in the game 14-7, goes on offense first and 10. Miami continues to lead in the second quarter 10-0. That was a 17-yard kickoff return by Martin on a short kickoff by Johnson. Giants extending their lead to 14-0. San Francisco up 7-0 still in the second quarter with Montana back in. Cardinals continue to lead the Browns. Game being played at Cleveland Stadium. Kenny Anderson ready to go to the controls for Cincinnati. Craig's been outstanding. 7 of 10 throws for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns for Seattle. Bang! Free ball. Bengals got it. Boy, you talk about a major league pop. Whoa.
That thing was rejected out of James Brooks's arms. Let's see if the Cincinnati Bengals can answer the Seahawks scoring drive. I'd venture to say Ken Easley's probably involved in this somewhere. Recovered by either Remington or Ross. But watch the hit. Let's see who it is. Somebody from the left.
You got him.
Ken Easley.
Mr. Easley was the man. Dan Ross now in the game as tight end, back from his stint in the U.S. Football League. He was an all-pro player for the Bengals one year when he caught 71 passes. Second down and 7. Bengals did well to keep the ball. Kinnebrew, he's been tough, but this time the Seahawks are looking for him and knock him down. Bring up third down now as the ball is spotted at the 35-yard line of Cincinnati. 3rd and 4. KC up on New Orleans 10-3. Pittsburgh extending its lead over the Colts 14-3 at Three River Stadium. Atlanta now their lead cut to 7. They were up 14-0 on the line. Tampa Bay under new coach Lehman Bennett off to a big start at Chicago, leading 21-7. 3rd and 4 Cincinnati. Anderson with some time. He runs out of it. Ken Anderson has sacked the whistle blows to hopefully save him from injury. He's had a number during his career, now his 15th season in the NFL.
Don, this Seattle defensive line is extraordinary. Watch the games they play. Twists inside, outside, all over the place. And eventually you have what looks to be a third-grade recess there on the offensive line. Nobody knows who's going where. It breaks down and they get to Anderson.
It's interesting, Trump, when we were talking with Chuck Knox last night and asked him to compare this team with last year's, he said you can't compare them. Last year's team won 12 regular season games. We haven't done anything yet this year, but he hinted they might be pretty good. So far they are leading 14-7. McInally punting now for the Bengals. Fair catch signal for him fumbled. Danny Green needed somebody to talk to him there because he had room to run had he caught it. But he called a fair catch. So the Seahawks get the ball back, and we'll be back in a moment. But 8:01 to play in the first half. Kurt Warner hits the room, doesn't get much. Couple of yards, takes a lot of hits as he goes wide, and Warner's knocked out of bounds at about the 37-yard line by Glenn Cameron and a rookie linebacker, Carl Zander.
On the last offensive set by the Cincinnati Bengals, 3 plays and out. The Bengal defense had just come off the field after giving up 7 points in a long drive. That's where the imbalance comes. You've got to give each part of your team a good enough rest on a day like today so they can stay fresh.
And both coaches talked about that, the need to balance offense and defense so nobody has to be out there all day in the sweltering heat. It is 2nd down and 9 now for Seattle. Craig taken off. And David Craig has a 1st down and some more. You're down immediately as soon as you start that slide. Dave Craig, elusive and quick, gets away from a would-be tackler, Ross Browner, and gets ahead for a gain of about 13 yards.
He looked like Houdini there. It appeared he was about to be sacked, brings the ball down, ran right by a Bengal defensive lineman for a big 1st down pickup.
New England off to a big start, leading the Green Bay Packers 12-0 in the 2nd quarter. 2 top quarterbacks went out with injuries today, Dan Marino and Joe Montana, but both came back into the game and are playing now. 1st and 10 for Seattle. Craig's looking for some more. He's looking at Largent now. Stands in and takes the sack. Offensive blocking was good in the line of Seattle, but the defensive coverage was even better by the Cincinnati Bengals, and he had nowhere to go.
That's the point. You'll see he's got time to throw. There's just nobody open. Eventually, Ross Browner gets by Edwin Bailey for the sack. Cincinnati defense has played pretty respectable.
They have. That was a question mark. They're strong up front with Eddie Edwards, Tim Trumry, and Ross Browner. Secondary was banged up coming in.
I'll make this comment. It appears that Turk Schonert is warming up on the sideline here.
He is indeed. Ken Anderson had a great preseason. Had a great opening day so far. Here's a throw, and Byron Walker takes the ball down at the 36 yards out. He's out, but he held it. Big gain on the play, 24 yards and a Seattle 1st down. It came on a 2nd down and 18 play.
I can't believe he got up. Robert Jackson is the guy that nailed him. He was totally out of control. Once again, Craig right on the money. Watch the hit by the free safety. Boom, right there. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Right now, we'll pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is Channel 5, KING-TV, Seattle.
1st and 10, Seattle. Seahawks lead the game 2nd quarter, 14-7. Pitch back to Curt Warner. Reggie Williams got a hold of him, kept him from getting a big gainer. Here is Turk Schonert, who was an NCAA passing champion as a collegian at Stanford, was drafted by the Chicago Bears and acquired by Cincinnati as a free agent. Had his greatest moment in pro football against Seattle a few years ago when the Seahawks were leading 21-0. Schonert came in and quarterbacked the Bengals to a victory.
And we have no report that there's anything wrong with Ken Anderson. Schonert probably got the bulk of the snaps in the preseason.
Only thing wrong with Ken could be age 36, working on a hot day. Has not been effective so far. It's 2nd down and 7, Seattle. Another strike thrown by Craig. Penalty markers down, though.
I think that's going to be on the offense. I think that's going to be pushing up on Charlie Young on a strong safety.
Young was the guy who caught the ball, the tight end, but we'll see if the call does go that way.
We'll see what the call was, but oh, it's going to be against the Bengals.
Defense, number 34. Holding, refused.
I'll tell you, Charlie Young got away with one there. Charlie Young is the old veteran, certainly the old veteran, and he knows what he's doing, and he took a little shove off Bobby Kemp, and he makes the reception.
Charlie Young, a 13-year veteran from Southern California. Started out as one of the highest draft choices in the NFL coming out of college when he played for the Philadelphia Eagles. Later acquired by the Seattle Seahawks. It's a free agent. Right now, a timeout is called on the field. Seahawks want to capitalize as they're down close in the 2nd quarter. Seattle leading Cincinnati 14-7 with 4:21 to play in the 1st half. Halftime will be going to Bob Costas and the team, NFL 85. And coming up next on NBC Sports, it's the 2nd half of a doubleheader day on NBC. Most of you will see Marcus Allen and the LA Raiders battle the New York Jets. Plus regional action. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Your team plays here, so kick off the 2nd half of our doubleheader with NBC Sports Today. The Broncos getting set They go against the Rams at Anaheim. Denver, another of those powerhouse teams in the AFC West, coming up a 13-3 regular season last year, and they are said to be a much better ball club.
Pick that entire AFC West. I mean, there are no slouches anywhere. San Diego's got an offense that they can match a defense with, very powerful. The 3 sack leaders in the NFL last year were first the Los Angeles Raiders, second the Denver Broncos, and third the Seattle Seahawks. Look, it's getting hotter on the field too. Now up over 110 degrees at field level. Chuck Knox, though, he said, look, put that out of your mind. Forget it. Makes no difference what the temperature is. Got to go out there and play.
I'll tell you one thing, Trump, if Seattle does take it in and goes up by a 14-point margin, you're going to see a lot of Seahawk running plays the rest of the way to run that clock.
And of course that feeds to the Seattle defense. That's exactly what you want, to be up and be able to go out there for the rest of the ball game and use 5, 6, and 7 defensive backs. But on a day like today, coaches got to be great salesmen, convincing the players that it's 72 involved.
That's right. Spring day. 115 on the playing field. Dave Krieg on first down. Throws. He's got a man open. Charlie Young is in for a touchdown, a 20-yarder. And Krieg with his 3rd TD throw of the game.
One-handed catch by Charlie Young.
Boy, the Seahawks look tough.
This is linebacker coverage on a tight end. 91, Carl Sanders, 2nd-round draft choice out of Tennessee. Fooled by the play fake. Charlie Young is buying. Oh, they took advantage of the kid there. The old man against the young man. 6 points.
NBC Sports features every year. It's breakfast at Wimbledon for Seattleites. This is kind of like breakfast in Cincinnati. 10 o'clock start Pacific Coast time, and the Seahawks moving very nicely in the morning hours as their alarm clocks go. Extra point by Norm Johnson is up and good, and now the Seahawks have extended their lead to 21-7 as Dave Krieg has completed 10 of 12 for 159 yards and 3 touchdowns.
The defense, watch 91. See, he bites on the play fake. That's easy pickings. Great catch by Charlie Young, 6 points.
Boy, that is a good-looking football play. Seahawks have had a number, and they lead the game 21-7. 4:16 to play first half as Johnson booms a kickoff. And for Jennings, in his wisdom, will not take it out. And out to the 20 and a touchback.
I think we're going to see Turk Schonert at quarterback here for the Cincinnati Bengals. Sam White's a former quarterback himself. Yep, here comes Curt. Anderson leaves 4 of 7, 45 yards, no touchdowns, sacked twice. Sam White believes that he can just at will change any one of these quarterbacks. Go from Schonert to Esiason back to Anderson and have no problem.
It was back in 81, Trump, when Turk Schonert came in and Cincinnati trailed Seattle 21-0 and engineered a 28-21 victory for the Bengals. It wasn't against a defense like this, though. Here's a throw and a completion, though. Chris Collinsworth running hard over the middle. He's in open field. Collinsworth heading for the end zone. Easley is after him. So's Dave Brown. Easley gets him inside the 10. Caught the Seattle defense split wide open, a 70-yard gain.
They bring the quarterback in, but this is a busted coverage. Totally busted coverage. And of course, Collinsworth with outstanding speed. These two guys are running mates, Turk Schonert and Chris Collinsworth. I don't think it has any bearing on the completion, but it's a pretty auspicious beginning by Turk Schonert. First completion in the 1985 season, 70 yards.
They own a racehorse together, and Collinsworth looked like one when he got the ball. Kinnebrew takes it down to the 5-yard line. It'll be 2nd and goal from there. John Harris coming up from the free safety to jam the run and make the hit. Now, you've got to watch the Seattle defense here. They are amazing the way they force turnovers when people get down close.
57, Shelton Robinson was the linebacker who apparently had coverage on Chris Collinsworth. One of the things the Seahawk defense does not do is make mistakes. That was a real mistake in coverage.
Split him wide open. There's no question it was a total mistake in the coverage. Collinsworth left uncovered coming over the middle. Now we go to 2nd down and goal from the 5. Kinnebrew. He didn't get much, but a lot of Seahawks hitting on him. Jacob Green gives him another one when he gets up.
It's the toughest yardage in football. The defense only has to protect right now 13 yards of the field.
Those first 4 are the toughest. Third down and goal from the 4 for Cincinnati. Critical moment in the game for the Bengals. If they don't take it in here, they could be in trouble as Seattle leads the game 21-7. Schonert, look, almost intercepted. The ball was right in the hands of linebacker Bruce Schultz, and he couldn't hold on as Jacob Green, number 79, came a-humming and knocked down Turk Schonert. Looked like he was almost grounding the ball. It was
Ken Easley on a blitz from the backside. They bring everybody but the coach on this. Here you see Easley. Schonert does a great job just to avoid the sack there, and Schultz almost makes the interception, clear sailing the other way.
Green was the trailer. It was indeed again Kenny Easley who was there to get the quarterback. So the Seahawks stop a 1st and goal, and now Breach will try a field goal. Yarder is right there, and so the Bengals come out of it with points, but not what they like.
Don, you remember last night we were talking to Chuck Knox, and you asked him about Tom Catlin, the defensive coordinator. He said Catlin does several things very good. 1, he's very well organized. 2, he can dissect the film. And 3, he makes great calls.
On game day.
On
absolutely.
game day. And he just made a great call on that 3rd down situation, blitzing everybody but the head coach to stop the drive of the Cincinnati Bengals.
That's got to emotionally be tough on the Cincinnati Bengals, though, Trump, to go that far with that big play and only come out of it with 3.
Very much so. Missed opportunities in football end up with a losing record, and that was a missed opportunity by the Cincinnati Bengals right there.
Collinsworth, who was a Florida sprint champion, so you know how fast Kenny Easley is, who caught him from behind. Going to the sideline to sit in front of that block of ice. Jim Breach ready to kick it off as the Bengals are back in the game, trailing 21-10 with just 2:26 to play in the first half. NFL 85 with Bob Costas is coming up at halftime. Randall too tough to handle Morris. That's how he was billed in college anyway. And Danny Green are back deep for Seattle. Seahawks tough opening schedule, Trump. They've got to go on the road again next week, play the Chargers at San Diego. Then they come home to play the Rams on a Monday night. We'll be there for that one on NBC Radio. Then they go to Kansas City. So 3 of their first 4 games are away.
Cincinnati's got St. Louis next week in St. Louis, and San Diego comes here. Then they go to Pittsburgh for that well-known rivalry.
Jim Breach into the ball and hits it very well. Randall Morris decides the kick was too tough to handle, so he didn't bring it out. It comes to the 21st and 10. Krieg has been spectacular throwing the ball for Seattle. Absolutely phenomenal. 10 of 12, 159 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Thing I like is he's got 3 touchdown passes, 1 to a tight end, 1 to a wide receiver, and 1 to a running back. That's
right.
as balanced as you can get.
Jim Zorn, of course, was cut last week by the Seahawks, and the backup to Dave Krieg is a free agent from California, Gail Gilbert. Big rangy quarterback, 6'3", 215. But the Seahawks still with 2 free agents at quarterback. Dr. D takes the ball straight ahead in a 1st and 10 from the 20. An off-season medical school student at the University of Washington. Tim Frumry made the knockdown.
Now they're going to let the clock run down to 2 minutes. Bengals have 2 timeouts left in this first half.
2 minutes to go. A break in the action at Cincinnati, and we'll be back after this. Checking things out with Chuck Knox, who's probably saying to him about Trumpy. Get out there and do what you'd like, pal. You've been great so far.
Yeah, really. What do you want to run? Let me make this comment, though. A lot of teams in the NFL get to the 2-minute warning and just let the whistle blow and they stop. It seems to me that a smart way to play the game is to try to save seconds on the other side of the 2-minute warning. A defense, they should be calling timeouts. The Bengals have 2 left, and the offense really doesn't need timeouts to work the ball down the field. So what they want is at least 2 minutes left. I think if I were Sam White, I would have called a timeout before that 2-minute warning and save the Bengals offense as much time on the clock as possible.
Well, strategy means an awful lot, but I think at this point, really the big plays are what Cincinnati has to get against a very, very adroit defense at stopping big plays. They did get one, but couldn't take it in for a touchdown.
Yeah, true. But I would think the Seahawks are going to be very conservative here. Up 21-10. They're not going to do something out of the ordinary. And if you can get the ball back to the Cincinnati Bengals offense with about 1 minute and 30 left, then they've got a chance.
Bengals, of course, view this game as critically important. They started last year with 5 straight losses, lost 6 of their first 7. Then were one of the best teams in the league, coming back to finish 7-2 and almost make the playoffs. And they certainly want to start off with that winning trend in '85. But to do it, they've got to beat one of the best. The Seahawks, as Randall Morris runs the ball and does it very well. On a 2nd down and 9, he got to the 27. It's the game clock superimposed, winding down.
Still no timeouts.
Seahawks have not had a great opening day success rate.
That one win was last year in Seattle on Monday night against Cleveland, too.
Game clock continues to wind down. Seahawks ready to take their winnings to the locker room if they can, with 1:26 and counting. They break the huddle 3rd and 3.
And I don't think the Bengals have used the clock very smartly here.
You'd be calling timeouts.
Yes, I would.
Play. This time Byron Franklin gets the carry, a wide receiver coming around. He's got a 1st down. So the Seahawks now have enough to wind out the half, leading 21-10. Sam White's the 2nd-year coach of the Bengals. Came in with what looked like a disastrous season, ended up 8-8, and had not the Steelers upset the Raiders at Los Angeles, the final game of the regular season, Cincinnati would have been in the playoffs.
Yeah, you talk about a disastrous start. Chuck Knox loses Curt Warner in the beginning of the 1984 season. Everyone kind of knocks the breath out of them, and they come back and make the playoffs. Best record ever.
27 seconds left. Back to the run go the Seahawks and take the ball out to the 35-yard line. Randall Morris gets the call again. Crumry gets him, and that could do it for the first half. As we'll check opening day around the league when we go to NFL 85 shortly. Dave Krieg was the standout in the first half, throwing the ball no less than brilliantly. 3 for touchdowns. So Krieg and the Seahawks go off the field now after that spectacular first half showing. A great half by Dave Krieg and the Seahawks, capitalizing on offense, defense, and special teams. Krieg in the first half, Trump, with some very impressive numbers. What are they?
10 of 13, 159 yards, 3 touchdowns. Curt Warner has run the ball particularly well, and they've come up with the big plays, and they've kept the Cincinnati Bengals out of the end zone after they came up with a big play. So far, I like the way Seattle's playing this game.
Well, knowing the Bengals as well as you do, having played here 10 years, some of them Pro Bowl seasons, what would you tell these young Bengals at halftime if you're Sam White?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what I tell them, because they haven't played that badly. It's just that Seattle has played so superior. You got to expect the Seattle Seahawks to drive the ball down the field. They give up 1 turnover in the first half, and it results in 7 points. And then they stuff them on 1 drive, the Bengals do. Seattle comes back on the next drive after the Bengals score and just drive it right down the field. So they're not playing that poorly. Seattle is just a superior team.
21-10 is the count at halftime, as the Seattle Seahawks, coming off a 12-4 record a season ago and billed as an even better team, look to be just that through the first 2 quarters of play. NFL 85 halftime activities will continue in a moment. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Looking for blockers. Good pursuit by the Bengals, and Danny Green spins out and gets to the 16-yard line.
This Bengal defense so far in the first half has been on the field a great deal of time. With the heat and humidity here, and of course the AstroTurf in any field in the Midwest now, going to be very, very worrisome to any coach. The stats are relatively even. Seahawks a little more time of possession, probably the last 2 minutes they had the football in the half. And it's just a great passing performance by Dave Krieg.
He really had a spectacular first half, did Dave Krieg, and now he comes out to lead the Seahawks in the third quarter. Kurt Warner, a line behind him, had a lot of time in the first half. And you get more in the second half as the Seahawks go to the run, and good defensive play. The Ivy Leaguer, Reggie Williams, a veteran from Dartmouth in his 10th year, made the knockdown on Warner for a short gain.
That's the other point to make about the Seattle Seahawks. Warner's caught the ball. He's run the sweep. He's taken a direct hit on the knee. He's made a couple of cutbacks. He looks fine.
And the defense has been looking for him. They know how much Chuck Knox likes to run the ball and go with his best back when he does it. Largent comes out wide to the left. Darrell Turner on the board with one touchdown. Catches on the flank to the right. At the top of your screen as Krieg is looking at Turner. Home run ball. Darrell Turner running under it. He's lost it as he got to the 33. Nice job by Lewis Breed in the left corner, who had to go way up to keep that ball from coming down in the hands of Darrell Turner.
Don, the thing that impressed me about Turner is watch the stride. Well, it's just the end of the pass route, but that kid has got a stride. He eats him about 6 yards for every step he takes.
Like a lot of the great speed men, he doesn't run, he flows. Doesn't look like he's going fast, then he just blows by you. Very rangy wide receiver at 6'3", 190. Drafted in the second round a year ago and responded with 35 receptions, averaging over 20 yards a catch. 10 of those receptions were for touchdowns. One today was. It's 21-10 Seattle as we open the third quarter, and almost intercepted as Krieg came to the wrong side of Steve Largent on an out pattern. Ray Horton, the right cornerback, had a play on the ball. So the Seahawks want to put some big numbers up early. Of course, Cincinnati into a passing game.
The Bengals defense has done a pretty good job of shutting down this offense of the Seattle Seahawks. They've given up some big plays, but this has got to help the Cincinnati Bengals' feelings a little bit. 3 plays and out for Seattle.
Here's Jeff Weston now to punt the ball for Seattle, standing back at his 4-yard line. Mike Martin is the deep man for Cincinnati. He's back at his 38. 21-10, Seahawks in white lead the game third quarter. High kick, not too deep. Martin, a daring runner, brings it back and takes it down to the 46-yard line. So Cincinnati's first possession of the second half will be in good field position. They'll go from the 46-yard line of Seattle. 37-yard punt by West, who was waived late in the preseason, as Seahawk fans know, then came back on that final day of cuts.
He's the safe punter. Experience. He's not going to lose you a game. Now the Bengals have been in this position before in the first half. Great field position, but couldn't get it in the end zone.
Seahawks, Coach Chuck Knox looking for the best players, not the best draft position. They cut their first player pick, the second rounder from Iowa. Gill, a running back. Here is the flea flicker. Schonert takes a look. He has a problem. Dumps it off. Brooks drops the ball. Seattle was kind of caught unaware. They had the men covered deep. Dave Brown was running stride for stride with Eddie Brown, who was heading for the end zone, looking for the flea flicker pass.
Dave Brown, 22, the KG veteran of the Seahawks, picks Eddie Brown up. You see him come in a picture just to the... Where is he? Where is he? There he is, off to the right. He was waiting for him. Schonert saw him, so he went to the outlet receiver, and James Brooks dropped it. Turk Schonert, by the way, starting the second half for the Bengals.
Well, it was exciting for the Bengals, but it was nothing, and now it's second down and 10. Might see that again. Schonert takes a look, stands in, fires long, and there's a great reception by Eddie Brown. Not done as he comes inside the 30-yard line. Best catch of the football game right there. Coming back to the wrong side, turning up for a 17-yard gain.
Now, if you're a quarterback, you got to like a kid like this because he can make you look good. Schonert didn't throw this pass particularly well, and Don, you were absolutely right. Made a twisting catch over the wrong shoulder. Good for a first down.
Also a report, Trump, your friend Pete Rose got a base hit today, and now he's one short of tying the all-time record of Ty Cobb. He's going to play a lot more, though, isn't he? He's going to be playing a few more years, Rose.
He's not ready to quit.
Pitch back to James Brooks. Gets some room, and Brooks, who had a good preseason, runs well for the Bengals inside the 25-yard line. John Harris, the free safety, knocked him down for Seattle as the Bengals come out challenging in the third quarter.
Well, apparently Sam White's halftime speech got someone's attention. Defense comes out, holds Seattle, turns the ball over to the offense, and now they must get it in the end zone.
Big play man is Eddie Brown. You've got to believe he's going to be seeing the ball more. He's out of the game right now. Mike Mark is in with Collinsworth, lower portion of your screen. Our run, second down and 4, and Kinnebrew takes it down to the 20. Maybe short of the first down, but not by much. His third and short comes up. Keith Butler on the stop for the Seahawks.
Both teams rather slow getting up. When you walk into the locker rooms here, Don, they're air conditioned. You cool off pretty good, sit down, you get kind of comfortable, then you walk back out in this searing heat and humidity, and it takes you a few minutes to get used to it.
I think something you mentioned earlier, Bob, is very interesting. You can drink all you want, all the water, but you can't replace the body fluids in a short time like that.
No.
The dehydration process is wearing. Third and short. Big Brew has got some stuff left as he takes it inside the 15-yard line. It's a first down for the Bengals.
Excellent lead block by Charles Alexander, number 40 of the Cincinnati Bengals, leading Kinnebrew up through there. That's about 600 pounds of beef. Watch 40. Right there, gets his head through the hole, just holds up a linebacker a little bit easily, tries to make a hit right on the ball. Brew stays or hangs onto the football. First down, Bengals.
So the Bengals come out now with Eddie Brown wide left. Dave Brown's against him and playing well off him. They could be going that way. Go to the run. Brooks going wide. And big defense by Seattle knocks him down for a loss on the play. Very well done by the Seahawks as those big people got out wide. Shelton Robinson, who was the Seahawks leading tackler in '84, former tight end at University of Texas, North Carolina, ran across to make the tackle. And the omnipresent Ken Easley was also on the play.
Omnipresent, yeah, that's well put.
Ball is positioned now at the 18-yard line. Second down and 13 to go for a first down. 21-10. Seattle in white leads the game in the third quarter on a day where the temperature on the field is well over 100. Now running for the first time today is Bill Johnson. He is a first-year player in the NFL, but he's an established pro player. He rushed for over 1,000 yards for the Denver Gold in '85 in the U.S. Football League season. Was the league's third leading rusher.
Bengals had a good wide formation, kind of spread the Seattle Seahawks out a little bit. Good block by Remington on the nose tackle. Johnson up through there. Third down at about, what, 7 or 8?
That's about it. Third down and 7 they have on the board. Ball at the 11-yard line. Eddie Brown is wide right. Collinsworth on the left flank. Seahawks left early, but maybe they were drawn off by Brian Blados, a second-year guard at 300 pounds. It's pretty tough to hide when he moves early.
Well, when he picked his hand up.
Number 74. Sorry. Third down.
Jacob Green was offsides, and when Brian Blados picked his hand up, then that made it illegal procedure.
Fred Silva, the referee, gives the call on Blados, so it's a 5-yard markup, and those hurt Trump. Coach at Arizona State once said, better men that you should die at birth than jump offside at the goal line.
Absolutely correct. Now you see Turk Schonert identifying the blitzers. Seattle showing blitz all the way here. Flag on Seattle.
Down, free play. Here's a throw and a catch for a touchdown. James Brooks, 17 yards, is in the end zone, but now you've got to get the interpretation of the yellow flag.
That's a free play, Don. You were right. That's on Seattle.
Gonna go.
Defense. Number 72. Offside. Hughes.
Touchdown, Bengals. James Brooks on the board twice today with a pair of touchdowns, and all of a sudden it's a tight game again, 21-16. And Jim Breach is out to try to bring the Bengals back to within 4. Still need a touchdown, though, another one. The Seahawks surely aren't done yet. James Brooks has run the ball 6 times for 30 yards and a touchdown. He's caught 2 passes for 30 yards and a touchdown. Up and good, and with 9 minutes and 16 seconds to play in the third quarter, the touchdown brings Seattle back to within 21-17. Important acquisition for the Bengals. They gave up Pete Johnson, a guy they said never lifted a weight or watched his own. He ate himself out of the league. Here's a hit downfield now by Jim Breach into the end zone. Randall Morris is told, don't come out of there. Seahawks will go from their 20. Seattle leading the game 21-17.
Today's game is brought to you by Stroh's and Stroh Light, the circle of sports beer. By the Polaroid Corporation, innovation in photographic and video products. And by the U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
To the action now. The swing pass goes to Curt Warner, and he gets yards, good for a first down. Craig with a perfect lead throw, and Warner does the rest down the far sideline.
First half, the Bengals scored. James Brooks on a sweep, and the Seattle Seahawks came right back and scored. That time, Ron Simpkins, 56, linebacker. The Bengals looked very, very tired. Couldn't catch up with Curt Warner. It's nice to see him back and healthy. You want that kid to play for a long time. Simpkins better get on his horse there. He let Warner pick up a first down. Should have made it tougher for him.
Warner is the eye back now on Seattle set. Gets it again. This time power sweep to the left. Warner darts ahead to the 35-yard line. First down carries, good for 3 or 4.
Well, we tried to document what the heat would do to these players, and it does just fatigue you. Here's Ron Simpkins. Really young, gets him out of the play. He needs a breather. Ron Simpkins needs a breather. Good run once again by Curt Warner, testing that leg. I think he's passed the test.
And his surgeon, whoever he is, has to be a proud man also. He certainly knows his trade. Dan Dornick, one of the running backs for Seattle, is an off-season medical student at the University of Washington, which is rated by the AMA as one of the top medical schools in America, right up there with Harvard and Yale and Johns Hopkins. Here's a throw down the field, and Largent has the ball down to the 45-yard line. Big gainer, gain of 20 yards, and the Seahawks, this game has had a particular trend, Bob. The Seahawks have gone through Cincinnati, scored touchdowns, build up seemingly standing leads, big margins, and then the Cincinnati Bengals scratch and claw their way back as they've done now, where they trail 21-17. All of a sudden, Seattle starts to hit the go button again.
Well, from the second quarter on, that Bengal defense has been on the field a great deal, and I repeat, in my estimation, it is more difficult for the defense to play in heat than it is the offense. Reaction takes more out of you than action.
The blitz, throwing long. There's Darryl Turner turning back at the ball. He almost had it. Boy, he's exciting, I tell you. You see Craig wind up and let it rip. You figure nobody's going to get to. Deep Heat is waiting under it.
And as fast as he runs, he still has great body control to spin and turn around there and try to make a catch.
Just looking at the scores briefly, Miami leads Houston 16-9 in the third quarter. Giants lead the Eagles 14-0. That game in the second quarter. Now in the third quarter, 49ers continue to lead the Vikings on the return of Bud Grant. 7-3, St. Louis over Cleveland. As we go back to Seattle and second down and 10. Third quarter at red-hot Cincinnati. Temperature on the field way over 110 degrees. Big rush, and down goes Dave Craig on a great play by the Cincinnati defense. Simpkins and Reggie Williams.
Ron Simpkins had a couple of plays that we pointed our finger at him. He goes back with the blitz. He was unblocked. You'll see him once again. Comes in and no one makes contact with him. Everyone is consumed with the defensive lineman. Reggie Williams, 57 there also. And they pick up the sack.
those sacks hurt. Chuck Knox, a scientific approach to football, as I guess everybody in the league has now, talks about the percentages. You get first down on the average of 25 times a game. First and 10, a team will see first down. So he says it's unquestionably the most important down in football. Now it's 3rd and 21. Here's a throw. It's incomplete. And thrown hard to the ground by the middle guard, Tim Crumry, was quarterback Dave Krieg.
First time the Cincinnati Bengals showed 7 defensive backs.
Hey, this has been some football game.
Yes,
it looked like it was out of reach when it was 21-7 Seattle, but these Bengals in the heat have clawed back.
Bengals game with a 3-man rush, 1 linebacker and 7 defensive backs. Still got pressure on the quarterback, and receiver was well covered.
Something we've not seen for a while is a turnover forced by the Seattle defense, which will be coming out next after this punt by Jeff West. Gets a good one. Drills it long. Martin likes to run him back, though. Takes some hits. Great play by return man Mike Martin. Every year, the year of living dangerously for those punt return men, a 43-yard kick and 11-yard return. The NBC thermometer, purchased specially for this occasion.
That hasn't changed much since the opening kickoff.
It's not dropping. Bengals thermometer had it at 119 at kickoff time on the playing field. This is an artificial turf field with all the resiliency of a parking lot. Got to be one of the hardest fields in football. Kinnebrew breaks one open. Look at this big guy knock people down and take it ahead on a first down carry for 16 yards and a Bengal first down.
Nothing fancy. Right straight at the Seattle defense. You'd be surprised what a play like that will do to the heat. For the team that picks up the 16 or 17 yards, all of a sudden it gets cooler. For the defense, it gets a little warmer.
Big Brew, after that hard run, is taken out of the game, and Bill Johnson comes in now to play fullback for the Bengals. Seattle leads the game 21-17. 5 minutes and 15 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter. James Brooks, with 2 touchdowns today, is unloaded on by the Seattle linebacking corps. 3 of them got it. Shelton Robinson, 57. Keith Butler, 53. With the lead tacklers, and Bruce Schultz, 58, was also on the play.
Well, another thing I've noticed, Don, at the beginning of the ball game, the Cincinnati Bengals are on occasion going without a huddle, straight to the line of scrimmage to try to keep the Seattle 6 and 7 defensive backs off the field. They filed that. Probably too tired to even think about it. Let's go back and get a breather in the huddle.
Well, I think you pointed out the one time they did it and they misfired at the line of scrimmage, it was difficult to establish the snap count. Somebody, I think it was Montoya at the time, left early.
Yeah, and the heat will have an effect there. It'll affect your concentration.
So now 2nd down and 13 for Cincinnati. Kinnebrew. He is a load, this man. He loves it.
See Easley tearing at that football, trying to come up with a turnover. I think I picked up a pattern here. When the Seattle Seahawks are coming with their 4-man defensive line, that's when the Bengals are running the short trap up through the middle, and Kinnebrew is picking up good yardage.
255. We're talking about a man here.
We're talking about 255 with a mouthful of helium.
Is that right? He's more?
Oh, yeah, he's more. He's about 265. Can't get a run.
We've seen that. 77 yards. He leads all the rushers. It's 3rd down and short now. Big Brew gets it again. And again, he eludes the tacklers and gets it. This is going to be close. They're going to have to measure this one. He got it. It's by the front of the football.
I'll tell you what, the respect that people have for Larry Kinnebrew, you even see Bengals offensive linemen jumping out of the way of that guy. You can end up with Brew back and be in the hospital for 3 weeks. If he hits you with that helmet, you're not looking.
That another of the untold parts of this game is the beating a lot of offensive linemen take from their own running backs.
Big choice here for Sam White.
You're not out of the way, they'll run through you.
They're going for it.
Well, now we see the master strategist matched up. What will defensive coordinator Tom Catlin call for his Seattle defense? Probably a linebacker blitz to jam.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I were the Cincinnati Bengals, I'd go to the line of scrimmage, and I wouldn't snap the ball. See if I can get him to jump off sides first, then take a timeout quick, then run a play.
They might very well be thinking of that, Trump, because if they should not make it, they'd give the ball to Seattle at the 49-yard line. Now they want to have a meeting on this whole thing. So the Bengals use one of their 3 allotted timeouts as Schonert comes to the sideline. Defense that called the timeout, so Seattle has just 2 remaining. As now it is 4th down and less than a yard. Kinnebrew against a goal line defense rams it ahead for 5 yards and a first down for Cincinnati. They've been unable to stop him or even slow him down. Getting it on his own.
Once again, a good lead block by Charles Alexander. He caves in Butler. Kinnebrew with a good 3-yard pickup on 4th and inches. That Seattle defense now got to be getting tired.
They are all getting tired at this point as 2 minutes and 43 seconds show in the 3rd quarter. The clock is running. Seattle leads the game 21-17. They were up 21-10 at halftime. Schonert takes a look and Eddie Brown is open. Every time he's run a pattern today, he's been open.
He's quick.
And that's his 4th catch.
He is very, very quick, and you got to respect his speed. Last week in the last exhibition game, he ran a reverse for a touchdown. He looked like Tommy Smith running the curve in Mexico City there with that body lean.
We pause briefly now for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is KING-TV, Channel 5, Seattle.
We're at Cincinnati, Ohio on opening day 1985. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy, the Seattle Seahawks on defense, holding to a 21-17 lead, and the Bengals are driving behind the power running of that man, Larry Kinnebrew, who just took the ball again into the Seattle defense. That time, on a first down carry, he was shut down after a gain of only about 2.
Now the Bengals have a distinct advantage on Seattle. The manner in which Larry Kinnebrew has run the ball and the Bengals have run the ball, it shows a reluctance on the part of the Seattle Seahawks to bring in their 6 and 7 defensive backs. It's now 2nd and probably 8, and they have their standard defense in there.
Larry Kinnebrew was the Bengals' leading rusher last season, rushed for over 600 yards, 4 yards a carry. Now they go to some speed, and James Brooks has plenty of that as he weaves his way inside the 30 and close to the 27.
That was a great tackle by Bruce Schultz. If Bruce Schultz doesn't get his hand on James Brooks, he's in the midst of a cutback that's going to end up at the goal line. That was an outstanding defensive play by Bruce Schultz.
Seattle now making some major league substitutions as a whole lot of people go out, primarily the linebackers, as on 3rd and just over 2. The Seahawks are gearing up to play pass.
4-man rush, 1 linebacker.
Kinnebrew's out. They've got 2 runners in the game, 2 smaller backs in Stanford Jennings and James Brooks.
Blitz.
Yes, it is. They pick up the blitz. There's a throw. Eddie Brown again. The man is great. Hurricane warning. Eddie Brown comes in from Miami with another reception. Good for 18 yards and a first down.
Don, he was very well covered. For you young receivers out there, Eddie Brown did the fundamentally correct thing. Reached back, came back with that football. This is an outstanding catch by a young rookie. Watch him reach back for that football. You see there? And he absorbs the punishment. And you can't really look at. You can't point your finger at Terry Taylor and say he did anything wrong. Ball is well thrown. Boy, that's as good a coverage as you can possibly have, and Eddie Brown still makes the catch. 1st and 10.
This game moving along quickly as the 3rd quarter is now winding out. 14 seconds to play in it and counting. Schonert goes back to Kinnebrew, and Big Brew is into the end zone for a touchdown, and Cincinnati takes the lead.
9 yards on the touchdown. Kinnebrew now 17 rushes, 89 yards. Schonert 5 of 7, 134 yards, 1 touchdown.
Point after important. It'll give a 3-point cushion to the Bengals as they lead for the first time in the game. Cincinnati trailing 21-10 at halftime. Rallies for 2 third-quarter touchdowns and takes the lead 24-21. And now Chuck Knox and the Seahawks have to go back to the drawing board and come out with the all-open offense.
Don, that was a 75-yard drive against what is conceded in the NFL right now is one of the best defenses you can put on the field. They blow them off the line of scrimmage. It's that fatigue factor setting in.
There's no question as the game wears on, Cincinnati has been the fresher team. The play of Kinnebrew has been remarkable.
Watch the line of scrimmage. Big bow there by the offensive line.
At this point, there's some guys that'd rather be in Seattle than out there tackling Kinnebrew.
Yes. Since they put Turk Schonert in a quarterback, started giving the ball to Kinnebrew, game is turned in the Cincinnati Bengals' favor.
Last November, on a bitter cold day with driving snow, the Seattle Seahawks prevailed over the Bengals 26-6. But today, in a heat wave in Cincinnati, the Bengals have come from behind to take the lead. A long way to go, though. Here's the kickoff to Randall Morris. He'll bring it out. And he does it well as he comes across the 20 and out to the 24-yard line. A surprising lack of turnovers despite the intense heat, the sweat on the ball. Carl Zander made the stop. At the end of the third quarter, the score Bengals 24, Seahawks 21. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Fourth quarter, 1st and 10 for Seattle. The Seahawks now trailing by 3. Curt Warner runs the ball, breaks into open field, and Warner's out to the 35-yard line. A gain of 11 and a first down for the Seahawks.
Don, you can't count the Seattle football team out.
No.
You absolutely cannot. Let's watch the Kinnebrew touchdown. Watch the bow in the line of scrimmage. Remington on Kinlaw.
Munoz took his man right out.
That's impressive.
So while an injured Bengal is attended to, there's a break in the action, and we'll be back right after this. Ray Horton was just shaken up, a Bengal defensive back. Here's how it happened.
Looks like he hurt his arm or shoulder landing on it, but he appears to be all right. Up and under his own steam.
1st and 10 now for the Seahawks. They're trailing in the game as Curt Warner goes up the middle and gets ahead for about 3 out to the 38-yard line. Game clock in the fourth quarter winds down to 4:24 and running. 14:24 and running.
That 28's been a busy number today, hasn't it? Kinnebrew for the Bengals. Warner for the Seahawks.
Curt Warner, a lot of work. 41 yards. They've all come hard. Kinnebrew with 80 yards rushing, including that last touchdown run from 9 yards out that gave Cincinnati the lead for the first time. Seattle trailing 24-21 early in the fourth quarter. Krieg goes to the ace-back, and Curt Warner is very close to a first down as Warner, running like the Curt Warner of old, takes the ball ahead for very close to first down yardage. He got it to about the 45.
Seahawks doing an excellent job of misdirection, allowing a defensive lineman to cross the line of scrimmage and then going the other way. Curt Warner running away from him. Third down in very little bit.
Chuck Knox on the sideline. His offensive coordinator Ray Prohaska and Ken Meyer. Play comes in. David Hughes, a power back, is in. Maybe to run, maybe to block for Curt Warner, who's the other setback. 3rd and less than 1. Actually about a foot. Warner, he's got it. Getting out to the 49-yard line. Curt Warner got about 4. So the Seahawks move the chains, get 4 new downs, and keep their drive alive as they trail in the game in the fourth quarter with 12:52 to play and the clock running. It's 24-21 Cincinnati after the Bengals trail at 1:21-7.
Norm Johnson, the most accurate kicker in the NFL last year, too, is certainly a weapon. Not from here, but they don't need a lot of yardage for Norm Johnson to be a factor.
Good point. This could be an OT game before we're done as the Seahawks trail by 3. Throw, catch, Largent, first down, Seattle. Beautifully done by Craig DeLargent. Ace passing combination of the Seahawks takes the ball to the 39-yard line. A gain good for 12.
This game has had a lot of personalities.
Boy, it has.
The Seahawks drive. Bengals stop them one time. Seahawks come back the next time and drive the length of the field. Same is true for the Bengals offense. There's a receiver that hard to describe. You just look at his numbers and you say, how does he do that? But he's done it his entire career. 6 1,000-yard seasons, 7 50-catch seasons.
Steve Largent breaks off the right flank as Warner runs left. He didn't get much there as finally the pursuit of the Bengal defense cut through the blockers and knocks down Curt Warner for perhaps a loss of 2 yards.
Running to the tight end. Charlie Young and Tice lined up over there in tandem. And you see Simpkins coming back strong. Got his second win, and he was in there to make the first contact on Curt Warner.
Miami's in a dogfight, Trump, down in Houston. Dolphins now leading 16-12. Giants continue to lead the Eagles 14-0. Scoreboard moves on. Kansas City blowing out New Orleans 33-3. Pittsburgh doing the same to Indianapolis. Here's a throw and a catch by Largent on 2nd and long. Largent lost the ball, got it back, but might have been ruled down. Bring up 3rd down and pretty good yardage though. They'll need about 5 for the first. About 5 for the first down.
Now there are different defenses that we'll see in the NFL. This is an excellent catch by Largent, thrown slightly behind him. The Cincinnati Bengal defense is not a defense like the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks defense is a stuff-em defense. Shut them out completely. The Bengal defense cannot stop you on every single drive. But this is the drive that they need to stop to be successful. 1 drive a half, and this is the one.
Been a lot of big plays in this game, and this is one of the biggest right now. 3rd down and 5 for Seattle. Seahawks trailing in the game 24-21. 10:20 to play in the 4th quarter. Tip ball, it's incomplete, and 4th down comes up. Line of scrimmage at 34 would make it a 51-yard field goal attempt by Johnson. If they go for it, they're sending out the punter, Jeff West. Tim Krumrie appeared to be the guy to get through to tip the ball, the middle guard.
Right at the line of scrimmage. You don't necessarily have to sack the quarterback if you can pressure him to the point where he alters his delivery, and the receiver was open, Don. If Craig can get the ball without it being tipped, it's catchable.
Mike Martin is dropping back as West will be angling for the sideline. Trying to get it out. He hasn't been kicking the ball deep today, but he's been fairly accurate. Now he goes to the far sideline, hits a high spiral. It carries down and into the end zone. He didn't do his job very well on that one. Only a 34-yard punt, a net 14-yard punt with the 20 yards that brings the ball out. Cincinnati gets it when we come back. Don Criqui with Bob Trumpy. We're in the 4th quarter where the Bengals have rallied from a 21-10 halftime deficit. They were down at one point 21-7, and they have now taken the lead over the Seattle Seahawks 24-21 behind the passing of Turk Schonert, and this is a deja vu day for Schonert. Whoa! Houston has come from behind now to lead Miami in the 4th quarter. You don't beat the Dolphins, though. The gun sounds. Schonert rallied in 81. The Bengals from 21 points down to beat Seattle, and today he's rallied them from behind again, but we've still got a long way to go. 9:55 to play in the game.
Today's game is brought to you by Mazda and the full line of sophisticated Mazda products. By Coors, the beer with a difference worth tasting. Coors is the one. And by Alcoa, Aluminum Company of America, world leader in aluminum technology.
The Ohio River Valley sweltering, as is much of America. Temperature on the playing field well over 100 degrees. The Bengals with the ball and a 3-point lead in the 4th quarter. To the run, big defensive play. Stanford Jennings ran the ball. Coming across to make the play for the Seattle Seahawks was Jacob Green, number 79. Also on the play, Michael Jackson.
Don, the Bengals can't turn conservative here now. There's 9:06 left in this football game. 2 runs have netted him absolutely nothing. That's a great job by Jacob Green. And Seattle is certainly going to take their chances here to try to stuff them on this drive.
Jacob Green making a big play that makes it 3rd down and 9 now. The Knox opportunity, Knox defense. KNOX opportunity, they call it, looking to force a turnover as Schonert throws long. And he got to the wrong side of Chris Collinsworth, and so Cincinnati has to punt the ball back to Seattle. The Seattle D holds strong.
Somebody ran the wrong pattern, or Turk read it wrong, or something happened there. You don't normally see Chris Collinsworth and Turk Schonert that far apart. They're looking at each other.
Seattle defenders led by the front 4 of Jacob Green and Jeff Bryant and Joe Nash. Linebackers have been on a load of stops. Schultz, Shelton, Keith Butler makes a lot of plays, and of course easily the great strong safety.
I think they'll come after this punt.
They're lining up 10. Here they come. McInally gets it away quickly. It's a low punt. It will come back. Here is Danny Green, the rookie from the University of Washington, looking for a hole. Special teams coverage is very good. But Danny Green does find his way ahead down to the 45-yard line of Seattle. So the Seahawks have the ball. 1st and 10 there when we come back. Opening day is a doubleheader day on NBC Sports. Coming up next, depending on the part of the country you're in, you may see the Jets go against the LA Raiders at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. The Denver Broncos, a superpower club heading into the '85 season, go against the Rams at Anaheim. San Diego Chargers and all that offense take on the Bills at Buffalo. Check your local listing for the game in your area. Opening day on NBC Sports. San Francisco and Minnesota are now tied 7-7 in the 3rd quarter. Alan Rice ran 2 yards for a Viking touchdown as the Vikes are standing tall against the world champions on return day for Bud Grant.
Field position for the Seahawks in the 2nd half. Their own 17, their own 20, their own 24, and now the Bengal 45.
1st down Seattle. Seahawks trail by 3, 4th quarter. Greg looks, going long. Darryl Turner under the ball. He can't quite get to it. Needed another stride. He had a step or 2 on Lewis Breeden. A long out, but very close to pay.
Hard to overthrow that kid. Wasn't by much, but
not at all.
You watch the offensive line play. That's where it all happens in the NFL. On instinct 64, Ross Browner 79, and look at that full trajectory by Krieg. This is not overthrown by a lot. I was kind of surprised at that call. This is a critical series for the Seattle Seahawks. I think they'd be a little more conservative.
Now they're going to be firing again. On 2nd and 10, here's a throw and a catch by Largent inside the 25-yard line. The brilliance of Steve Largent illustrated again as he comes off the right flank, goes into the air and comes down with the ball for a 20-yard gain on 2nd and 10 and a 1st down. And the Seahawks, trailing by 3, have begun to challenge now.
Great protection, man-on-man coverage. Jimmy Turner on the coverage. Ron Essink once again on Ross Browner. Almost a hold, but
Largent's caught 5 today, Trump, for 80 yards. 1st down, Seattle. 7:33 to play in the game. Seattle trails by 3, 24-21. Timing pattern out in the flank. Danny Green, the rookie from Washington, almost looked like motion in the backfield. I didn't see a flag.
No flag, but the Bengals were giving Green a big cushion. Ray Horton almost 10 yards off. Craig audible at the line of scrimmage, just taking advantage of the defense, and he picks up almost 8 yards. This is a team you just can't count out, this Seattle Seahawks team. What a day. 16-25, 235.
That last Euro's a big one, too.
Yes, it is.
Hasn't turned the ball over with interception despite putting it up regularly and deep. He's thrown a lot of deep balls. He's thrown 3 for touchdowns. 7:22 to play. 2nd down and 3, Seattle. Kurt Warner turns the corner. And Warner gets ahead for a 1st down. A great run by Kurt Warner, dipping out twice on the defense and getting ahead for 4 new downs. He stops the clock. 7:16 to play.
Good sweep action by the Seattle Seahawks. Nothing fancy.
Boy, he looks good.
Yeah, he does.
It's great to see.
He has no fear whatsoever running the football. 55 yards on 16 carries, coming back after being off for an entire season.
Chuck Knox told us about Trumpy. Nice thing about him, he's a total team guy, Kurt Warner. All he wants to do is to win, and right now Seattle needs some big plays down the stretch to get into the end zone. Here's a blitz. Warner picks Picks it up and dances free, and Kurt Warner's going in for the go-ahead touchdown. A great play by Warner. Outstanding blocking. Bengals left on the field in the wake of his elusive run, dancing through them, and Kurt Warner, returning to All-Pro status on opening day 1985, takes it in for the go-ahead touchdown as Seattle comes back.
There must have been 4 guys miss Kurt Warner. Just flat missing. That's how great a running back he is.
He's not hurt there. He's exhausted.
Yeah, he's exhausted. Well, he should be.
A couple of Bengals aren't getting up.
That's 66 yards, I think he's now carrying. Now watch. Watch how many guys miss him. They catch him in a blitz. There's 1 miss, Crumrod. There's 2 miss, Kemp. And Lewis Breeden finally makes the tackle, and 2 of the best tacklers on the Cincinnati Bengals are, in fact, Tim Crumrod and Bobby Kemp. 66 yards, 17 carries, and Kurt Warner with the touchdown.
But still a lot of time to play. 7 minutes and 7 seconds to go. Let's watch it again.
Again, you see they catch him in the blitz. A good lead block. A great lead block by Hughes.
Look at this run.
And he just gives him that limp leg.
Like a puff of smoke. He went through him like a ghost, that one tackler.
Yep. Well, that lead block was a pancake, as they call it. David Hughes just creamed a linebacker coming in there.
Those Steelers are taking no prisoners today, Bob Trumpy. It's a 38-3 game over the Indianapolis Colts. You remember the Steelers fondly, don't you?
Yes, I do. All I do is just feel my chin. I remember them well.
Right now, a very important extra point, because if Norm Johnson hits it, it'll give Seattle a 4-point lead, and Cincinnati have to go the distance and take it into the end zone. Field goal wouldn't help them. They got 2 of them. There's still a lot of time left. 7:07 left. The extra point is good, and Seattle comes from behind, leads the game 28-24.
Watch David Hughes, 46, hit Robert Jackson, 37 right there. Folds him. Kurt Warner makes one of those all-pro cuts. He's in the end zone.
Here is the kickoff by Norm Johnson. A high spinner, 3 yards deep in the end zone, and Stanford Jennings is cautioned not to bring it out. So the Bengals, who need a touchdown with 7:01 to play, and they trail to the Bengals 28-24, will start from their 20, 80 yards to the Seattle end zone.
Now, Don, the question is, which way is the Bengal offense going to play, and which way is the Seattle defense going to play? Each side has stuffed the other one and then allowed the opposite to just march down the field. Am I making any sense?
I was going to tell you that the Seattle defense is going to play on the left here.
They'll be the guys in the white jerseys, right?
For those of you who may have tuned in late, Kenny Anderson is in good health as far as we know. He started the game but was ineffective moving against the Seattle defense. Turk Schonert came in and rallied the team from behind. Right now he has to rally from behind again as the Seahawks lead by 4. Dump pass to Kinnebrew. If you put your heart on the line, knocking him down. Coming up to do it was Jeff Bryant, number 77. Got him where you need to get him, low.
Bengals must be patient here. No reason to panic. They got 6:40 left to go in this ball game. Go with their high percentage plays. Not try to do anything fancy.
Game clock running. 6:30 to go and running it. Collinsworth comes out wide left. The excellent Eddie Brown is on the right flank. Pitch back. Kinnebrew with all that speed. Free ball. Still free. Still Cincinnati. Ball. Cincinnati keeps it. Seahawks never got possession. They also get a first down.
That's what I was going to say about Seattle. They're in every ball game they play because even when they're behind, they are still going for the football. Watch the center, Dave Remington. Misses the block a little bit, but Kinnebrew, when he turns it upfield, the hit's already made. The Bengals get a very lucky bounce.
Quite a development Trump at Soldier Field in Chicago, where the Bears at one point were trailing 28-17. Now they've rallied to take the lead on Tampa Bay. 31-28. First and 10 now for Cincinnati. Bengals trailing by 4 in the 4th quarter. Throw by Schonert and a catch at the 50. Collinsworth comes back at the ball, and he has another Bengal first down with 6 minutes to play.
12 yards on the catch. Heath Butler, if he had fingernail that was just a little bit longer, I think he'd have knocked this ball away. You see the protection up front. Watch Butler. Whoa! Right past his fingers.
So now Collinsworth lines up again. First and 10 Cincinnati. Handoff up the middle and for some good yards down to the 45-yard line to Stanford Jennings, a second-year runner. Gain of about 4 on the play. Shelton Robinson was on the stop as the clock runs.
At the line of scrimmage where these guys got to be wearing out. Dave Remington 52 on Joe Nash, the Pro Bowl nose tackle. Good job done by the center there. Gets a little bow in the defense. Jennings picks up 3 yards.
We're telling you not to count the Dolphins out. Don Sprock just threw a 67-yard touchdown to Mark Duper. Here's a handoff on second and middle kick. Out to the 42-yard line goes the ball, or down to the 42. It'll be third down and about 3. Running straight ahead is Bill Johnson.
Don, let me make this comment. I think the Bengals are a little afraid of the Seattle Seahawks pass defense right now. It's the best part of their football team. They don't want a turnover right here. They're trying to be as conservative as they possibly can. Well, you got to figure this is 2-down area.
Big down now. They all are, as it's third down and 3 for Cincinnati. Seattle leads the game 28-24. Clock running, 4:30 to play in the fourth quarter. Handoff and a stick on Johnson behind the line of scrimmage. A big play. Schultz, outside linebacker from the left side, came in with a head-on hit. Big Texan at 6'6", 240.
Came with an all-out blitz.
It was a game ball stick.
The Seahawks were there almost to take the handoff. The Bengals have got to go for it. 4th down and 4.
Boy, now you get into the chess game again, Trump, as you have Tom Catlin. Is he going to send a blitz at Turk Schonert? Give up some of the coverage? Keep all those DBs back in position in zone. It's 4th and 5.
They got 5 DBs in the ballgame. 6 DBs in the ballgame.
DBs, defensive backs, 4th down and 5. Whoa, the Seahawks left early. Is it a free play? Eddie Brown's going for the ball. He's knocked out. We're going to have some noise over this whole thing, but first we have to see who the penalty is on. The Seahawks pointing to an offensive lineman of Cincinnati.
They're huddling at the 45-yard line. Offsides defense. First down, Bengals.
Interesting play because 2 Seahawks left at the same time. They looked like they saw something.
Chuck Knox not happy, but it's a first down for the Cincinnati Bengals. This point in the ball game, you don't want your defense to jump off sides. It's Jeff Bryant that gets into the neutral zone. And here you'll see, now the new rule is if that defensive back is looking back at the quarterback, whether he's got a chance to catch it or not, it's incidental contact and it's no interference.
Charles Alexander is in the game for the first time. A big back who can catch passes for Cincinnati. Schonert eaten up back at the 45-yard line of the Seattle Seahawks. Never got a chance to pump. Michael Jackson coming on a strong side blitz and knocked him down. So now the extra defensive backs come in the game again. San Francisco, a tough game at Minnesota opening day. 14-7, the 49ers holding to a lead. Here at Cincinnati, Ohio, it's 28-24. Seattle is in the lead after trailing 24-21. At one point in the game, Seattle led Cincinnati 21-7, led 21-10 at halftime. Turk Schonert rallied the Bengals back at quarterback, replacing Ken Anderson. Now on 2nd and 15, Schonert goes from the shotgun. Big rush in there. He lets her rip, and he's got Collinsworth, who's down to the 37-yard line. He's short of the first down by 6 yards. It'll be third down and 6.
Good time for Turk Schonert to throw the football. Excellent protection by the offensive line of the Cincinnati Bengals. The Seahawks did not come with a blitz. I would think this would be your blitz down. Blitz down.
We haven't seen many though.
Yeah. This is the time to do it right here. Let's see what Catlin chooses. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defensive backs. They got 6 defensive backs, 3 defensive linemen, 1 linebacker. Is that 11?
It better be third down and 7. Schonert stands in. He's got time now. He looks to run. And Schonert is knocked down at the 33-yard line. He is 4 yards short of a first down. So again, fourth down arises for the Bengals. The last time Seattle Seahawk error got the first down. Again this year, the 2-minute warning. We're going to be treated to some of the most exciting finals in the NFL. All fantastic finishes. And here's one of them.
Recycling is another good reason to buy your beverages in aluminum cans.
There to try to decide on what is the best play. Of course, Bruce Coslett upstairs, former tight end with the Cincinnati Bengals. They're going over the computer printout. This is a guessing game. What's Catlin going to do defensively for the Seahawks? And the Bengals certainly want to take advantage of it. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see them go to the line of scrimmage and try to draw them off sides again. That's certainly a factor. And of course, Chuck Knox is telling his players, stay on side, stay on side. So I think Schonert will have a little extra time to throw it. The last play, Seahawks came with a total zone coverage with 7 defensive backs, not 6, 7. Schonert had no place to go.
Chuck Knox yesterday observed, he said, after you have a great season, certainly Seattle had one last year, you got to start all over. You can't take your Pro Bowl plaques and your 12-4 record, put them in a wheelbarrow and dump them out in the middle of the field. So here we go again. It's starting at square one. And it's been that kind of a game, just as he expected. The Bengals fighting all the way and still with time to win it.
4 defensive linemen, 1 linebacker, 6 defensive backs from Seattle. This is their defense.
2 minutes to go. 28-24. Seattle and White leads the game.
No blitz.
Schonert throws, and he's got a first down.
Flag down.
Penalty marker is down. There's going to be a holding call against Cincinnati. It's going to come back. Holding against the Bengals.
We've also got unsportsmanlike conduct on the sideline. Probably call it on both sides. You would certainly hope that your players would keep their heads. And in that case, the penalty, I think, would go against the Seattle Seahawks, Ken Easley. Mike Martin threw the ball right in his face.
Offense, number 74, holding. Defense, number 45, personal foul, offset, replay.
Whoa, they got lucky.
What a break for the Bengals. The foul on Easley after the play gives an offsetting penalty, negates the play, and they'll do it over. There would have been a substantial loss. The 10-yard mark off for holding against Cincinnati.
The situation was Mike Martin threw the ball in Ken Easley's face. So I thought there was going to be offsetting penalties. There you see the unsportsmanlike conduct there, using
Fully
the forearm
deserving
shiver.
of the call.
Absolutely.
Was Ken Easley, great as he is. So now we have 4th down and 3 again.
So far, the breaks have gone the Bengals' way.
Breaks might not be over. 1:54 to play. Cincinnati with 4th down, trailing by 4 points. They need a touchdown. Schonert stands in, takes a look, has a man. Curt, what a catch down at the 22-yard line. It's a first down for Cincinnati. Mike Martin caught the ball. 3rd-year wide receiver from Illinois. And Pete Rose has just tied Ty Cobb on the all-time hit list.
4,191 hits. Interesting, Mike Martin is the smallest receiver on the Cincinnati Bengals roster at 5'9", stretched to 6'3" to make the reception.
First and 10 for Cincinnati. Bengals trail in the game 28-24. 1 minute and 7 seconds left to play. Cincinnati needs a touchdown. Here comes the Seahawk defense. Wrong side of Fleet Eddie Brown. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
That was an audible, and Eddie Brown didn't pick it up. He was supposed to run a quick out, ran a slant, incompletion.
A remarkable rerun of a success day for Turk Schonert in 1981 when he came off the bench. With the Bengals trailing the Seahawks 21-0, and Schonert that day rallied Cincinnati to a 28-21 come-from-behind win over the Seahawks. Today he was called on again when in the first quarter Ken Anderson was ineffective. Schonert has completed 9 of 12 for 170 yards, including that 70-yarder on his first throw to Chris Collinsworth. The Seahawks lead 28-24 with 61 seconds left.
Blitz.
Here's a blitz, all-out blitz. Schonert stands and throws, and Eddie Brown goes for the ball, but can't come down with it. Good coverage on the play by Terry Taylor. Trying to go up for it. It brings up 3rd down and 10 from the